Hey everybody, welcome back. So we finally got a break in the weather. It rained for about a week. We're back up here on the rock in the backyard working on this fence project. So the wire that we're going to be working with is called tornado wire, and it's a high tensile fixed knot wire. It's not your average fence that you can go to Tractor Supply or somewhere and buy. There's a front side and a back side to this wire. So the side that we're looking at right here is the front side, or this is the side that you want facing your animals, because the back side right here has these little sharp points where it's twisted around, and I like to face these on the outside of my fence. Today I want to work on getting this roll of wire unrolled through here on this side of the gate, get it stretched, and hopefully get this side of the gate finished today. So I've got an idea, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna work. So I've got a stretcher bar that I've had for a while. I used to build my last fence, and on the last fence I used the track hoe to pull the fence tight, and then tied it off to my corner post. Well, I can't get the track hoe up here, so a lot of people use chain tighteners or come along. I don't have either one, but what I do have is some heavy duty equipment ratchet straps. I think they're rated for like 10,000 pounds a piece, which is, well, it should be good enough. We're going to try it out and see. I paid like $10 a piece for them, which is a whole lot cheaper than buying those chain strainers. So I got 3 of them, and we're going to see how this works. So the straighter you can keep this fence stretcher lined up with one of them line wires, the straighter your fence will pull all down the line. So I don't know if you can tell or not, but the fence is pretty loose. It's got a swag in it, but we're about 4 feet higher than what we need to be over there where the riprap is. We've got to pull all that down, so it should get really tight once we pull all this down. So my idea here was working just fine with pulling it down with the ratchet strap. I run into 2 problems though. My first one being that I run out of space on the drum of the ratchet strap, which that one's not the big problem. The main problem is this post pulled out of the ground about 1.5 feet, just straight up. The brace never moved because the brace is bolted into the rock. The pipe didn't bend, but it's just picking this post straight out of the ground. I've pulled it back down with the ratchet straps on that tree. The post went back down in the ground just fine. It didn't move any forward, it just picked it straight up. So I got to figure out how I'm going to keep this post down in the ground. So while I was doing some research and trying to figure out how I wanted to do this, I come across a YouTube channel of professional tree house builders, and I figured out how they build tree houses in trees without killing the trees. So I've made me a pin here, just I don't know, it's about 10 inches long or so, with like a big washer on the end. We're gonna bore a hole in this tree and drive this pin in it. According to them, that's kind of like us getting our finger pricked. It hurts for a little bit, but it heals up fine, and it won't kill the tree. Unlike wrapping something around the tree and choking the tree, that's what kills it. I don't want to kill this tree at all, so I think staying down low here at the base, boring a hole and putting this pin in, and then I can wrap the cable around this pin and it'll hold it pretty tight, and then that way it won't kill the tree. All right, so now that we got our little cable holding our post down, let's try to pull this back down and see if we can get it down far enough to tie off to this post. I believe I tied the fence a little too tight. Should have left it a little bit looser. I could have brought it down a lot easier. I didn't realize it was going to get so tight so fast. Well, I finally got it pulled down as far as it's going to. It's about 2 inches higher than what I wanted. I think it's going to be close enough. I'm really afraid to go anymore. It's so tight, I'm afraid it's going to break it. All right, moment of truth here. Well, it's holding for now. I think when I get the other 2 posts on either side pulled down, there won't be quite as much stress on these clips here. I know it's hard to tell on camera, but this is a pretty steep bank right here. Every time I use this fence, I am more impressed with it each time on how you can manipulate it and it stays tight top and bottom, and how it looks when it gets finished and put in. Well, good morning. It's been a few days, so I ordered some post clips. They just come in the mail the other day. I ordered 100 of them, so I hope it's going to be enough to finish out this project. This morning I've been working on finishing up this last brace in between these 2 posts. We got the bottom of this pipe coped out and welded up to this brace post, and up against the wooden post for the fence that continues on up through the pasture that's existing. I just notched out the wooden post a little bit. I run a big lag screw in there to hold it. It should be fine. There's an airplane going over. So. Hold on a minute. So we've got just a little bit more to do this morning. We've got to stretch this woven wire from the existing fence down to the gate. Just a little short section. We've got 2 strands of bob wire to run, one on the top, and then I'm going to run a strand on the bottom underneath the woven wire. So for number 1, it's kind of like a sacrificial wire. If that's the first one to break or rotten out, then it's a whole lot easier to change just 1 strand than having to change the whole woven wire. If you keep that woven wire up a little bit, you can run a piece of bob wire or just a piece of high tensile wire, and that way it helps keep your woven wire fence in good condition for a lot longer. So I took the gate off just to make it a little bit easier to work around here. Took them gate hinges out just to make it a little bit easier to tie around. We've got our fence stretched here with the ratchet straps just about as tight as I'm gonna be able to stretch it. It needs to be a little bit tighter because we're gonna have a little bit of slack come out from here. It's not gonna be absorbed that much into this fence. So I'm gonna try to tie these knots just as close and as tight as that I can get them. so the fence stays relatively tight. But we got our 2 strands of barbed wire run on each side of the gate here, one on top on each side and one on bottom on each side, and I just tied them off the same way that I tie off the woven wire fence. It's the same high tensile wire, so we tie that high tensile termination knot in the barbed wire as well. Got to hang this gate back. I took this gate off just to make it a little bit easier to work on this side right here. So we're going to get this gate hung back, and then we've got another little section down there at the end where I run that cable as a brace. We've got to put a short little section of fence right there and tie it to the existing fence. After that, the fence will officially be done. So I'll leave a link right up here, the video that I done where it shows exactly how I put all these posts in, welded those up, how I've got them anchored to the rock here. So if you haven't checked that video out, make sure you go back and check that one out.